This'll work. This ain't my normal setup. Okay, that was very rude. This ain't my normal setup, but I think that this will do for today. Let's stand right here. We got some head space. We got, sides. We got. The background looks a little sketch, but I think we could. Is it leaning? We gonna act like it's not leaning no more. Oh, I look good. Hold on. Let's see if let's. Normally, I try to do manual. I think that we're gonna keep it manual actually. Mm-hmm. Is that blurry? Okay. So we're back. Today is a special video. I'm actually at an open house, but it's a little bit dry. I think I have about 8 to 10 minutes of downtime. And I wanted to get on and talk to you all because I had a different topic today. So today is going to be, So today is going to be something a little bit different. We're actually going to have a conversation where we just go over definitions. If I was at home, we would be in front of my education studio and we would be doing a lecture on 2 terms. And there's only 2 terms. You don't need to know anything else for what we're talking about today. So, let's get into it. Dun, 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 dun. And it's cold outside if y'all can't tell. But more importantly, today's video is going to be about down payment versus cash to close and understanding that those are 2 different terms that mean similar things but not the same thing. So you're probably like, what does this mean for me and me actually buying a house and our first time homebuyer university? Well, a lot of people, they see these things online where they see you can get $15,000 towards your down payment or you can get $25,000 towards your down payment. But in all reality, the thing that people don't know is your down payment is just one factor into your overall closing cost. And the cash to close is what you will need to actually bring to the closing table on closing day. So when people say, I can get you in with only $1,000 down payment, that does not mean that on closing day you will only have to pay $1,000. Are you with me? If you're still with me, then you get it. If you're not with me, we're going to go back and we're going to talk it over again in a few minutes. So when you're talking about down payment, this is going to be a very quick explanation of a down payment. A down payment is a percentage of the home price that you pay upfront at the purchase of the home. This down payment is your first initial access to the equity on your home. So when you own a home and they say, we need you to put $10,000 down, you will get a mortgage for less or sub you will get a mortgage for minus that $10,000. So let's say your home is $300,000, you put $10,000 down and you move in. Your home loan will typically be around $290,000. So what does that mean for you? When you go to the closing table, what you don't realize is that equity that you're bringing to the table in the form of a down payment is different from the fees and the amounts that you will need to bring for title, insurance, taxes, random miscellaneous closing costs, charge, fees, percentages, commissions. Those are all different than your down payment. Your down payment is equity. Your cash to close is how much you need to bring to the closing table. And sometimes that might mean that your down payment is included in that. Now you're like, what do you mean sometimes? Don't you always need a down payment to buy a home? That's where we get into the good part. This is my favorite part about real estate. Yes, you do always need, well, not necessarily, but you do need a down payment to buy a home. The amount of that down payment depends on your situation and how you leverage your unique circumstances to actually be able to afford a home. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Yada, 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 woo, 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 blah, 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 shoo, shoo, shoo. Well, you can get down payment assistance programs, you can get seller credits, you can get almost anything to help you offset that cash to close. So I think that the very critical point of this is the thing that we don't talk about is the reason that cash to close is so critical is because people don't talk about it because it's the most that you have to pay when you're buying a home. It's the most that's going to come out of your pocket tangibly at the closing table. Yeah, you're going to be paying for your mortgage, yada, 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 I think. But in terms of money out of your pocket, the reason that people don't want to talk about it is nobody wants to be the one to say that I'm going to be costing you money on the day that we close. But the truth is, if you want to buy a home, you need more than your down payment. Now, I'm going to do a video tomorrow going over what exactly it costs to buy a home in Chicago. But for today's purposes, I just want you to think of your mortgage, which is your principal, plus your interest, your taxes, your insurance, if you have an HOA. All those things go into not only your closing costs, but your monthly cost. And then on top of that, if you are needing to pull title and you negotiate that the buyer will cover title and insurance and inspection and things like this, that might be something that you don't pay out of pocket right away the day that you order it. But when you go to sign your final closing statement on closing day, you'll notice that those fees were included. They were not free. So what does this mean for you as a home buyer or even as a seller? How can this impact your ability to buy a home? Well, if you're somebody that you think that I can get into a home because of a down payment assistance program for $1,000 and I won't owe anything else out of pocket, the fact is you're wrong. But what I can say is if you're looking at down payment assistance programs and you might even tag on some seller credits, you might be able to go to the closing table with less than your down payment needed for your close to cash. Some people can go to the closing table with almost nothing out of pocket. So this is where we get into the difficult part. When you're buying a house, how do you actually calculate? Stop. When you're buying a home, how do you actually calculate how much you will owe and how much you will bring to the closing table? Well, the truth is, everybody talks about markets, and every market is different, and every state is different. The truth is, with every single loan program in every single market, it's completely different. You could have the exact same house with a loan quote or estimate from two different banks, and the amount that you would need to bring to the closing table could be vastly different amounts based on the situation that you have, but also the regulations and systems that the bank is using and implementing. So you're probably like, this is just all mumbo jumbo. Every time I think about buying a house, I learn something new and it's pissing me off. Now you talk about cash to close. What does cash to close got to do with anything? Your cash to close has to do with everything. If anything, I would tell you to pay less attention to your down payment and pay more attention to your cash to close. Both are very, very, very important. But your cash to close is what actually matters in terms of your pocketbook. Your down payment, it matters too in terms of your equity and your ability to access certain amounts of cash and through your investment, through your home. But if you're talking about strictly fiscally and can you afford to buy a home right now, the thing that you should really be thinking about is cash to close. Can I actually bring this amount that they need to the closing table on closing day? Because I have to warn you, they're not gonna give you an extension. They're not gonna beat around the bush. You need to have your money, and they don't play. So with that being said, that's it for today's video. I know y'all thought I wasn't gonna make it 30 days. The last 2 days, we was uploading later videos. I uploaded at 11:59 2 days ago. Last night I didn't upload until 12:10 p.m. So I bring all that on to say, things are getting a little bit hectic. It's springtime, business is picking up, my buyers are happy, they're looking. I got some things going on in my personal life that I'm trying to get squared away so we don't have to deal with it ever again. Things are busy, but I promise you, when I say I'm gonna be doing this every day for 30 days, you better believe every day for 30 days I will see you. So with that being said, if you've ever thought about buying a home, you've ever even thought about scrolling through Zillow, you should give me a call, reach out to me, send me a message, comment on this video. I will reach out to you. I think that we should all be trying to be home buyers. If anything, we need to be starting the renters and buyers revolution and standing up to any corporation that tries to dissuade us or discourage us from buying homes. If you work for a company that doesn't have a home buyers program, you should go to your boss and tell them that they need it. And I'm not going to tell you to quit your job in this economy, but if they don't, you need to find a job that's willing to help you become a homeowner. With that being said, I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one.